Hi, I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about the quickest way to lose weight and gain health at the same time. A lot of people lose weight quickly by starving themselves, and when you do this, you actually hurt your health, you hurt your metabolism, and then you make it harder on you later. When you start eating again, you're going to gain weight very, very quickly. And you may already be in this cycle of what everyone calls yo-yo dieting. And the thing is, eventually what you want to do is adopt a healthy eating lifestyle. A lot of people think they're already eating a healthy eating lifestyle by having oatmeal for breakfast and a sandwich and salad for lunch and maybe some pasta and vegetables for dinner. That's not healthy. I'll talk a little bit about what is healthy today. I'm going to give you 6 ways to lose weight and gain health at the same time. So I'm Dr. Meg Haworth, and I am a transpersonal psychologist and a holistic nutritional chef. And I worked for about 15 years in Hollywood with celebrities doing their private weekly food and also consulting with them on their diets and creating diets for specific health conditions. And I've worked with people who have cancer, with autoimmune disease, chronic yeast infections, Alzheimer's, kidney disease, diabetes. I've worked with people with all kinds of illness, and myself, I've had over a dozen illnesses. And food can kill you or food can heal you, and it's just learning the differences between what does what. And that's a big part of what I teach people how to do. And in this video, I'm going to tell you those 6 ways that you can lose weight and gain health in the process. And then I'm also going to give you some solutions to help you do that, because it's always going to be that question like, Dr. Meg, how do I do this? It's like, people get really overwhelmed when they hear all of this stuff, and I get it. I was there once too. I was super overwhelmed. So overwhelmed that the first time that I went into Whole Foods Market, my nutritionist sent me there. I walked into Whole Foods Market, and this was 25 years ago, guys. This is like in the 90s. This is in the last century. And Whole Foods hadn't even been around that long. And so I walked in, I looked at all these tiny little boxes from companies I didn't recognize at all. And I burst into tears and I left the store. And since that time, I had to figure everything out. Since that time, I've heard so many people share the exact same story with me. They didn't know what to eat, and that's really scary. When you're walking into a store and everything you see is like, I can't eat that, and I can't. You have to stop thinking that way and start thinking about, what can I eat? What are the best things to support my body to heal itself? Food is medicine, and that's really what I'm talking about, is looking at the differences between medicinal food and toxic food that will make you sick and make you gain weight. Okay, so let me get started. So number 1, eliminate food chemicals. So food chemicals, those are things like artificial sweeteners, which are not good for you. They actually make you gain weight. And there's studies out there on this. There's a 9-year study on this. So go look that up and learn more about that. I can go into detail in this video, but I want to keep it as succinct as possible for you so you can get the basic information. But I always say investigate, and learn more on your own as well. Okay, so food chemicals, like I said, chemical sweeteners, food dyes. Oh my goodness, food dyes can really cause problems in the body. Other food chemicals, anything with MSG in it, anything with autolyzed yeast extract, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, all these different chemicals that you will see, things that you can't pronounce, go look them up. And one of my favorite resources, just brilliant resource, is Environmental Working Group. And if you go to ewg.org, You can learn about foods that are making you sick, potentially, foods that are linked with autoimmune disease, that are linked with cancer, diabetes, heart disease. All of those different chemicals are in there. They have the largest chemical database in the world, and then they classify these chemicals so that you can understand the links. Like, say, here's this chemical, and it'll have a range, like this is highly toxic, this is highly carcinogenic, or has been linked to cancer. So look up those things, because you want to eliminate those things from your diet to give your body the chance to heal itself, because the body knows what to do naturally if you give it the right things for it to do naturally, for it to naturally heal itself. Okay, so that's first is eliminating food chemicals, and those are additives and preservatives as well. And you can learn more about what's in our food just by taking that deep dive into it, and learning more. Okay, so the other thing that I would suggest that you do is, a lot of people have heard about the Whole30, which is 30 days of eating whole foods, basically. And a lot of what I'm talking about in terms of the foods that you should eat are that. But I suggest don't do just 30 days, do 90 days. 90 days of eliminating the top allergens will really help you see what is causing you to gain weight. Because if you're allergic to something or sensitive to something, you may not even register as allergic, but you register as sensitive. If you're allergic to a food item and you continue to consume it, it will make you inflamed and it will make you gain weight. So food intolerances are a big reason why people are overweight and are obese. So there's that. So eliminating the food allergens, and the top food allergens are gluten, dairy, soy, eggs. Eggs can be very healthy for you, but many people are very sensitive to them, and you may eliminate some things and be able to introduce them back in later. Peanuts, inflammatory oils, I want you to cut those out altogether for all time. Those are things like canola oil, some of the worst stuff you can put into your body. It creates inflammation in the body. It's been linked to cancer, heart disease, diabetes, along with vegetable oil, corn oil, and most of that stuff is genetically modified as well, which is an entirely other huge subject. Genetic modification has created all kinds of systemic issues in the body of humans, and it's upset the natural order of things out there in the world as well. The bees are a case in point in that the bee population is dying, and we have to have the bees. We have to have them. They pollinate our trees. Our trees are male and female too, and they need the bee to go from place to place to bring the pollen to fertilize it. Did you know that? Like, that's pretty cool, right? Nature is fabulous, but we keep messing it up by putting all these chemicals into nature, and the same thing goes for inside of your body. It will mess up the natural order of things when you put things in that your body doesn't know what to do with. So it may rest it in your muscles, and then now you've got an autoimmune disease, and you're being attacked, literally being attacked by your own immune system, because your immune system's like, I'm supposed to process this stuff. I'm supposed to process this stuff, but then it can't because it's not natural. And there you have an autoimmune disease. But many people, I had an autoimmune disease myself. I don't anymore. And it's because of how I eat and how I live my life. Anyway, all right. So eliminate those top allergens. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, that's overwhelming. That's crazy. That's everything I eat. It was everything I ate too, and I totally understand, which is why I made so many things for you to help you with this, because I remember what it was like to be there too. And I'll get to that in just a few minutes, but bear with me. I have a few more points to make here. Number 3, buy only organic produce and meats. Hear me. You are what your food eats. Now, your vegetables and your fruits have to eat too. And if they're eating chemical fertilizers and they're eating toxic sprays, herbicides, which kill weeds, pesticides, which kill bugs, fungicides, which kill fungus, if they're absorbing all of that stuff, you are too. And that's part of what is making everybody so sick, especially in the United States, because any conventionally grown crop will be sprayed with all of this junk. Environmental Working Group has a lot of information about this, great articles for you to read about and understand more deeply about what's going on in that part of the world. Now, the other thing is if you're eating meats, now I recommend eating meat because it's the only way you can get particular vitamins and proteins. And so, but part of the problem with meat is that they have all kinds of hormones, pesticides, and antibiotics. They automatically give antibiotics to cows. Why? Because so many of them got sick because they're eating the wrong food. They're eating genetically modified corn. GMO corn has pesticide right in the seed. So the pesticide gets right into the plant, and it actually makes the stomachs of pests explode. These bugs, their stomachs explode. So think about what it's doing to you over time. So only eat organic corn. If there are two crops that I would say you have to eat organic all the time unless you really want to be sick, it's soy and corn. I don't even recommend eating soy, but that's another story. But that's something a lot of people are allergic to, soy. Okay, so buy those organic products of produce, meats, and vegetables. Now, number 4 is when you eat mainly vegetables with a smaller amount of meat. So just like a palm size of meat, and get your meat from organic grass-fed places. If you can't do that, do your best just to get whatever you can. But a lot of people think that eating organic food is too expensive. I can't do it. I can't possibly do it. But in most cases you can. I'm not saying in all cases, and I know you're probably frustrated hearing me say this. But the food companies have let us think, and they've hypnotized us into thinking that we can't afford organic food. There were times in my adult life where I was living below the poverty line and still found a way to get organic food. I cut costs in all other areas of my life and learned how to always get organic food. Sometimes I don't. If I eat in a restaurant, they're not always going to have that. But it's very, very important because you don't want to swallow poison. I mean, who wants to swallow poison? And that's exactly what you're doing when you're not eating organic food. So I have all kinds of tips and help for how to do that in some of the things I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. But I want to get to number 5, and that's to eat a bunch of healthy fats. Healthy fats like nuts and seeds and avocado and coconut. And you may be thinking, wait a minute, fat? Isn't fat going to make me fat? Not healthy plant-based fats. They actually help you lose fat because they help you with getting hormones going that help you burn fat instead of storing fat. The things that make you store fat the most are bread, pasta, rice, cakes, candies, cookies, sugary things that have flour in it. Those make you store fat. So, and we need a certain amount of fat. So don't think that you need zero body fat is the way to go. It's not about aesthetics. It's about feeling good in your body all the time, like having the energy you need to carry out your life. Like that's really amazing. It's really amazing to have been sick and barely able to get out of bed. There are times where I'd be in bed for weeks at a time, and I'm sure people that are listening to this are same thing. And not having to do that. Like when you find the thing that works, you're going to keep doing that thing because it works and it makes you healthy and it gives you the energy that all of us want. The 6th thing that I would recommend that you do is make 90% of your own food. But Dr. Meg, I don't cook. I'm a terrible cook. I'm awful at it. I hear this all the time. I don't know how to cook. I know how to use a toaster. I can barely boil water. I hear this from so many people. Oh gosh, if you're a parent and you don't know how to cook and you're passing on to your kid the not knowing how to cook, you're doing a great disservice to them. And you can turn it around. You can turn it around. There's so many places where you can learn how to cook real food. And a lot of the things that I recommend taste amazing. And they're basically what are referred to in the industry as dump and stir recipes, where you just dump this thing with that thing and you stir it up and you have this amazing tasting thing. So they're easy. I try to make them as simple as possible. I don't want to spend all day in the kitchen and do totally complicated recipes unless I'm totally in the mood for that. And having been a chef and done this professionally and spending all day in the kitchen every day for, 4 days a week, that's a lot, right? So I understand that you may not want to be in the kitchen. But the thing is that when you do 90% of your own cooking, or you hire somebody to help you do this, it's not as expensive as you think it would be. When I first started out as a private chef, I kid you not, I was doing my work for $15 an hour. And if a person only needed me for 5 hours for the week, because that's how long it took me to shop and cook everything that they needed, and just have all the extra things in the kitchen that they needed, 5 hours. Do the math. It really wasn't that much money. And then they make sure that all of the ingredients get used, the chef does, so that you don't have all this stuff rotting in the fridge because you went to the grocery store completely unprepared and you were hungry and you overbought all this stuff, and then you're watching all this produce die because you just don't feel like chopping it or you don't have time to. So there's so many different options, and I help people with all of these options. And so this brings me to 3 things that I want to offer you that can help you with all of the problems that I've just lined out. Like, how do I even get started? How do I do this? How do I eat like this? When I've eaten, stuff from the center aisles, pre-made things. I've gotten prepared foods all the time. And all of those things have all these inflammatory ingredients in them, additives, preservatives, and things that are making you sick and keeping you fat. The weight won't budge. If there's something that you're eating every single day that is causing the weight. So here's some 3 things you can do. The first thing is you can get my book, Get Well Now, Healing Yourself with Food and the Power of the Mind. It's my best-selling book. It has a companion cookbook with it, and in it, it's like a whole handbook for getting well and staying well. If you are overweight and you're watching this video because you're overweight, you are not well. You're not in the best health you can be in, and you can be in much better health. And so that's what I want to do, and I want to help you with that. So there's my book and companion book, and that's very inexpensive, and that's a DIY kind of thing you can do on your own. And then the second option that you have is my online program, 21 Days to Healthy Eating. 21 Days to Healthy Eating is an online program that I created that has a new recipe every single day. Everything tastes delicious. Everything's super healthy and good for you. Everything has, unless of course you're allergic to some of the items, and I'm going to get to what you can do if that's your issue in just a few minutes. But 21 Days to Healthy Eating, it's on my website at meghaworth.com. You go to my book shop page and you'll find 21 Days to Healthy Eating there, and you can sign up for that. And it's on sale right now for 50% off the regular price. So go ahead and check it out. And you'll get all kinds of stuff in there. You'll get how to create a healthy kitchen, because that's very important. That's a foundation for healthy eating, is a healthy kitchen. You may think, what does that mean? I'll go into detail what a healthy kitchen is in my program. You'll also get some bonus cooking videos where you're going to learn some basic techniques to help you along the way in your cooking. And that gives you more recipes as well. So that's exciting too. And then you'll also get grocery lists and food plans. And you will get where to get the food at the best price. So go check it out. That's a really easy way to do it yourself. And it really doesn't cost that much money for you to do it yourself and learn how to do it. It's basically learning how to private chef for yourself. And eat real food all the time. All right, and my third option is one-on-one food coaching with me in my program called What Celebrities Eat. And basically, it's the exact same treatment I gave my celebrity clients, where I do an entire intake where I learn about what it is that you love and what it is that you don't love, what flavors you like, what you don't like. And I will look at, if you're the person who has a list, like you have a list this long of all the things you can't eat, and you're like, I don't know what to eat, I will create recipes for you based on things that you like. So what you end up with is your own personal cookbook. Can you believe that? Like, I will write you basically your own personal cookbook, and it will be tailored also to your lifestyle. If you're somebody who has to travel a lot, I'm going to give you all kinds of tips and information and assistance to help you with what to eat wherever you go. So that's my 21 Days to Healthy Eating, and you can find that on the Work With Me page on my website at meghaworth.com. And so those are the offerings I have for you, and there's a ton more information on my website. There's a lot of recipes on my blog. There are recipe videos on my blog. And there's also, if you've done all this, everything that I've talked about, you're like, I eliminated all this stuff, blah, 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 then there may be an emotional root cause. There's an emotional root cause for every single illness there is. And persistent symptoms. You may think, well, I'm not sick. Well, do you get headaches often? Do you get stomach aches often? Do you have knee pain often? Chronic things that you think of are just sort of normal to your life may be a disease just waiting to happen. It just hasn't spilled over into it just yet. And so I want to help you prevent that from spilling over by giving you food. But there may be an emotional root cause that you haven't gotten to yet. So my private practice as a transpersonal psychologist, what I focus on is how long-standing emotional patterns, difficult experiences like abuse and trauma, and just difficult experience. It could be your parents' divorce, which people have sort of normalized. It's like, yeah, everybody's parents get divorced, but it may have a huge impact on you. And so I look at how those experiences were manifested in your physical body. Your muscles have memory. Now, I always say the body always remembers what you're trying to forget, and I help you get down to the emotional root cause in the core and the beliefs that got formed in the moment or a series of moments that led you to adopt certain beliefs that also are keeping you in maybe even an obsessive pattern with food. You might not be able to stop because there's some belief deep inside that you're holding that you don't even realize is directly connected to your food. And I've seen clients, when they release that, they get better. Okay, so I've given you a lot of information. This has ended up being kind of a long video, but I'm a holistic wellness doctor, basically, and I help you with the mental, emotional, physical, and energetic or spiritual, and I help you with all of those things combined. So if you want that kind of help to get you to the next level of your health, I would love to help you get well now. I'm Dr. Meg Haworth. Thank you so much for listening. Book a free call with me to see if you and I are a good fit to work with one another. Thanks for listening.